Please rise. For the report, this report is now in session. We have Chief Brooks presiding.
Have a seat. Haggerty Holding versus Vanity Boyd. You ready to proceed, counsel?
We are, Your Honor.
And Ms. Boyd, you ready? All right, you can have a seat. Counsel, go ahead and call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, we call Arval Krishna. A-R-V-A-L, last name K-R-I-S-H-N-A.
Come on up, sir. All the way over here in the witness stand. And when you get there, if you could raise your right
Sure.
hand. Solemnly swear from testimony you'll give in this matter will be the true self you got.
I do.
Go ahead, counsel.
For the record, please state your name.
Krishna Arval.
And Mr. Krishna, what's your relationship to Haggerty Holding Corp.?
I'm the principal officer and partner.
And Haggerty Holding Corp. is the owner of a property located at 9323 Washington.
Yes,
Is this a property that somebody lives in, or is it investment, a rental property?
it's a rental property.
Okay. And you're aware of the requirements by the city of Romulus to obtain a certificate of compliance?
Yes,
Did you obtain one for this property?
yes.
Permission to approach, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
I'm handing you what's been marked as plaintiff's exhibit number 1. Can you tell the court what that document is?
There's a certificate of rental compliance by City of Romulus.
And when was it issued?
3/16/2020,
316 of what?
last year,
Okay.
2020.
Right, the upper left corner says issued 3/16/2020, correct? And it's good through 2025?
Yes,
And is this a document that Haggerty Holding Corp. keeps with its records?
yes,
I'd move for entry of exhibit number 1, Your Honor.
It's admitted.
As part of the lease of this property, did you or a Haggerty Holding Corporation enter into a rent lease agreement with Ms. Boyd?
yes.
I'm handing you what's been marked as plaintiff's exhibit number 2. Is that a copy of the written lease agreement entered with Ms. Boyd?
Yes,
And what was the date of the lease?
should,
The very
it was
top.
March 1st,
Okay, the very top of the.
March 1st of last year?
last year,
Okay.
And a required payment of how much rent per month?
1,300,
1,300.
yes.
Did it also indicate who was responsible for minor repairs?
The tenant,
And on page 14, is that your signature on behalf of Haggerty Holding Corp.?
yes,
And did you watch Ms. Boyd sign this lease as well?
yes.
Okay. I'd move for entry of exhibit number 2, Your Honor.
It's admitted. Did you have a question? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he said I signed what on May 14th?
No, I just asked him.
He didn't
if-
give a date. He just said, is that her, did he see you sign it?
Oh, okay, okay.
At some point in 2020, did Ms. Boyd stop paying rent?
Yes,
And if I was to show you your ledger for 93239 Washington, would that refresh your memory as to her rent obligations in 2020?
yes.
Again, can you tell the court what that exhibit 3 is?
It's a ledger for the rental areas, rents accounted for, and the amounts that we received on this property.
And when did Ms. Boyd stop paying rent?
I would say August or July.
July of 2020?
Yes,
Have you received any rent since July of 2020?
no,
And again, Exhibit 3 is a copy of the records for
And
this.
well, I apologize. How much was rent?
The rent, ma'am, I want to take you a few minutes to, the lease was signed for $1,300. And the tenant was having an agreement with Taylor Housing Corporation. And Taylor Housing Corporation came in between and said, no, she cannot pay 1,300, it has to be 1,200 for them to enter into it.
It's 1,200?
It made, so what we did, we could not change the lease because we have a banking regulations, because it was already submitted, so we started taking only 1,200 from her,
Okay,
but we have been giving her the credit
for
the $100
13.
in
Got
the
it.
ledger. It was
On
very
the ledger.
systematically done.
That's fine.
Okay.
Go on.
So that was what was happening. The last time she made the payment, because Taylor Housing with the COVID situation and other things, they
That's,
first paid.
that's right, that's fine. Go ahead,
Mr.
counsel.
Krishna, the last payment you received from anybody was July of
Yeah.
2020.
Yes,
And as of December 31st, 2020, what was the balance owed?
7,082.
7,000?
82.
And again, in 2021, did you receive any rent?
No.
I'm handing you what's been marked as plaintiff's exhibit number 4. Can you tell the court what plaintiff's exhibit number 4 is?
6,750.
No, what is the document?
It's a ledger.
It's the ledger for 9323 Washington,
Yes,
similar to exhibit number 3,
yes,
but it covers 2021.
2020.
And it shows no payments for January, February, March, April, May, correct?
Yes,
And actually, June should also be on there, correct?
yes,
And this is a record you maintain on behalf of Haggerty Holding Corp.?
yes.
I'd move for entry of plaintiff's exhibit number 4.
It's admitted.
After Ms. Boyd moved into the property, was there a problem with the hot water tank?
Yes,
And what happened?
the hot water tank was leaking and we replaced the hot water tank. We put in a brand new one.
Were you notified, Ms. Boyd, regarding a problem with the refrigerator?
The refrigerator, when she was moving in, she didn't like it. We said we will get a brand new one. We replaced a brand new refrigerator.
So you did replace it shortly after she moved in?
Yes.
Was there a problem with the basement flooding at least one time?
There was a flooding in the basement. We were informed and we sent the plumbers. They cleared the block and they checked everything. They put the camera. There was nothing like no roots or anything. It was a lot of other particles that were there.
Is this a finished basement or what's the nature of the basement?
It's not a finish. It's a
It's the
semi-finished.
cement floor,
Yeah, cement,
completely unfinished.
completely unfinished.
So you're requesting from this court the possession of the property back due to non-payment of rent, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Yes.
yes?
Yes,
And you're also requesting a money judgment for the past due rent, correct?
yes,
Did Ms. Boyd pay a security deposit?
yes,
And that's reflected on the signature page of the lease, correct?
yes, yes,
It shows she paid a security deposit, $1,950.
yes,
And you had a filing fee in this matter of $215, correct?
yes,
And you incurred, you paid a court officer $36 to have this complaint served?
yes.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Boyd, questions?
Yes, well, not really questions. A lot of these exhibits that came up are due to things that I mentioned to the mediator. I didn't feel comfortable with the mediator because she told me I need to make things accommodable for him. So I'm the one who told her that he was operating under a revoked business license. Haggerty Holding has been revoked since 2019. So it's a coincidence that he gives me a certificate of compliance for the city. That has nothing to do with him collecting money and trying to evict me under a revoked license. I brought that up to her, so now they're trying to say, here's a rental certificate. My move-in date was 3/15, so this is their compliance that they done on a unit a day after I moved in, when he told me the previous tenants were there for 8 years, which
Okay.
was, you know.
And you have to, in the city of Romulus, you have to get a new
Mhm.
certificate of occupancy anytime you change. If you're selling the house, even though you're living there, you have to get a new C of O or have somebody come out and inspect it. I don't know if that's true in rentals, but the same. But the issue is today
Mhm.
on, even if you think that this started with it, and I'm not quite sure, that, if you have proof that you've been paying the rent, then we can have a different conversation. I guess my first question is, do you have any questions that you want to ask him? If you don't, that's fine.
Oh, I didn't know I can ask some questions.
Yeah, that's, as he's
Okay.
sitting there, do you have questions that you want to ask him? And then I'll let you make a statement.
Okay, well, this lease right here, I really don't know how to act, I don't know. So I just want to explain first, I have my Section 8 voucher for over 10 years. They don't just change the rent because the tenant is upset. You have a set amount based on your income and how many kids you have. My
This is
voucher-
about your, and you're gonna be able to make that statement,
Oh, okay.
but while he's sitting here, you have to ask him questions.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, this is my first time.
No, that's
doing
okay.
this.
If you don't have any questions of him, that's fine too.
Okay, my first question is this the ledger that you gave to the mediator during
Yes.
the email?
Yes,
So the ledger that they sent to the mediator only went up to May. I'm the one who told her that I had additional money orders after May, so they altered and added those dates to the ledger. The ledger is still incorrect because my rental amount is $1,200. That's the lease that he gave to Section 8, and that's my voucher amount. So this was altered after they gave this to the mediator. I didn't know I left my phone in the car, but I can show you the email with the attachment from Mark. The original ledger did not include June, July, and August.
Well, let me ask you a question. So the rent was $1,200. What did Section 8 pay?
ma'am, Section 8 made only 2 payments. They keep changing.
And-
They are
and
not
so
very
they-
consistent.
They haven't paid, when was the
They
last
only
time?
paid it for two entries, the entries of Section 8 payments. Right now, I don't have, there was one payment of 3,200, which came sometime in July, late July,
Of
last year and August. After that, they didn't pay it. I gave that record to. And this ledger details are as per the standard accounting practices, and they're 100% certified records. There's nothing wrong.
Go
And
ahead.
if
Hold on
I'm
a
sorry,
second.
I just want to explain. My voucher is for $1,200. I work for Blue Cross, so I actually pay more than their portion. My portion was $623 and they paid $568. So with Section 8, there are inspections.
Sure.
I've had 4 failed inspections due to the tub leaking. So he has been in abatement since August 20 of 2020. He's basically, they stopped payment until he fixed the tub. So he's neglecting his rental property, and he's saying, whatever to Section 8, I'm not gonna fix it. So I don't understand if I didn't pay rent, he didn't call me, he didn't email me, and actually I'm third party to Section 8. I provided plenty of documents where he threatened me via text and emailed me, so he knows how to communicate with them. But the only thing Section 8 is still waiting for, and I communicated this with the mediator, and I've actually provided an email from my worker where she said, if he fixes the repair, they will back pay him.
Yeah, we can't.
And that will cut my portion of what he alleges that I owe and have. So he's just negligent.
Do you have anything in writing from Section 8?
I submitted the email. Do you have all the paperwork and folders and pictures that I attached with the file they told me to turn in? I know before we made the court appointment, you held up my folder and you said you had everything. I have emails from my workers.
Oh, I do have the pictures.
Yep, failed inspection reports since last year.
Well, let me jump to for today's purposes, what council, are you aware of whatever they're claiming is wrong with the premises?
Yes.
Well, again, according to her testimony, it's a tub leaking. Mr. Krishna has indicated it's been fixed. I didn't elicit that from him, but as Officer Court, it's fixed. But in any event, It's a tub that may be leaking a little into an unfinished basement, Judge. It's a minor issue. And the only reason I believe Section 8 stopped paying is because Ms. Boyd complained about the issue. And Mr. Krishna
Well,
tried.
I mean, here's my, I mean, Ms. Boyd, I take it, you want to move.
After everything he's done, of course I want to move, but if you look at the pictures provided, it's not just a finished basement. There's a whole carpeted area where someone was living and where my daughter was currently sleeping. It's not the drain. If you look at all the failed
But
inspections.
for today's, I mean, but I'm trying to get through, for purposes of these proceedings today, I mean, whatever was in the basement or whatever, was that way when you looked at the property and you moved in?
So with Section 8, they inspect the property. Physically, it looked good. But once you get in there and you're actually showering and using the plumbing, they're not gonna know that there's damages just from doing the physical inspection. 4 weeks after we moved, the hot water tank did not just leak, ma'am, it busted. There was water all over the basement. I provided.
Well, okay, so this is what I want to do though for
Okay.
today, is that, I mean, that regardless of the payments, regardless of whether Section 8, was paying or was holding the monies, you should have been paying the balance or putting it
Right, and I
into
was. Yeah,
an escrow account.
that's
So
true.
do you have all of the money in an escrow account?
No, I don't have all the money in the escrow and I don't have all my money order receipts. And I feel that the home was not,
Okay, well, so
habitable.
what I'm gonna do for purposes of today, I mean, the money judgment is a separate issue than possession.
But the damage is equal what he's saying that is owed because.
You're not listening to me.
Okay.
The money judgment, the request for monies is a different issue than his request for possession. What I'm gonna do today is say, if I issue a judgment for possession today, you have 10 days to get out. Do you understand that?
And that's the thing.
No, I'm asking you, do you understand that?
No, I don't understand.
And
why.
so how long, if you're moving, that's what I'm trying to figure out. If
I've
you're
been
saying you want to
looking for
move,
somewhere to
you can't say, well, I mean, I've been living there a year, I'm making all of these complaints, and I'm here today for a trial, and I'll be out in, the issue of money damages or that is a separate issue right this second.
Oh,
I'm just asking you about the judgment for possession only. That if I enter an order, I only give you 10 days. I'm asking you, that today is June 15th. When can you be out? And I
I
know
would
your
need at
objection,
least-
counsel, that you're gonna object. Oh, okay.
No, I just want to.
I would need at least I've been looking for somewhere to move and I just.
That, you're
wanna-
not answering my question. I'm saying, when can you be out?
I
You
would
came
need at
today,
least-
you knew this was a possibility, that
Right.
you haven't paid in over a year, so, or
I
about a
have
year.
paid, ma'am, and I knew this was a possibility, but I thought that you would look at the pictures and all the.
And
failed
say you can
reports.
just continue to live there for
No,
free?
and say that we can do some type of constructive eviction with a conditional agreement. My thing is.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to, okay,
Yes.
so if I say to you,
I would
I'm
need
gonna
at least
issue,
30 to 60 days.
I'll give you 30 days, writ to
Okay.
issue July the 15th, and then I'll set it for hearing for damages after you move out. On whether, and
So-
you're gonna have to get somebody from Section 8, because you cannot testify on behalf of Section 8.
I
So
have
if
the
you're claiming,
emails.
if it's not emails, I need a live body from Section 8 that says why they didn't pay or why they, you shouldn't owe the money or whatever it is. I'm not dealing with that today.
Okay,
Today, I'm issuing a judgment for possession, writ to issue in 30 days. That means you have to be out by July the 15th.
now how
and-
would I find somewhere, they can't give me at least 60 days?
I'm giving you 30 days.
Okay.
I'm making a finding that they have the right to possession. You have 30 days to move.
Now,
So
what
I'm gonna
about my
sign some,
security
and then
deposit?
council will do a Zoom hearing and set another hearing for damages after he has possession of the property, and we can figure out what, if anything.
That's fine, Judge. What I was going to indicate to the court as an officer of the court is Ms. Boyd, as part of this lawsuit, did file a CDC affidavit. So she was gonna have till, I think, June 30th anyways, but that's why I was gonna bring to the court's attention. I do think she filed with the court, just to let you know.
I have a question. So after June 30th, does the 30 days start?
It would be 10 days after June 30th, technically.
Even if you already, now what about my security deposit?
The
Which I
security
need that to
deposit would
move.
be paid towards any balances owed or be returned under the Security Deposit Act, which is after you move out.
Now,
People
why,
don't get their security deposit back before you move out.
but that's what I was asking because he knew the house was not in the condition to be lived in, ma'am. I didn't make any
And you've lived
complaints.
there for a year and a half. I'm
And I
gonna
had-
issue the judgment for possession, writ to issue on, actually, I will do the 30 days, the 30 days from the 30th. I'll make it August 1st. Okay, you're all set. You can get a copy of this downstairs.
I still have questions.
What's your
So,
question?
My question is, if you said that I was making complaints, but all of these repairs happened during the course of me living there.
And we're gonna talk about those as far as it relates to damages. It doesn't have anything to do with the judgment for
So would this
possession
be like
today.
a countersuit for me for the things, the harassment and the retaliation and calling the police on me, all the
You-
evidence that I
You
provided?
can file, yeah, you can file a separate action if you'd like to.
So when we continue with the next one, that's just for the
It'll be for
money I'm
whether
trying to
you,
get
whether you owe
back?
damages or not and what your defense is against why you shouldn't have to pay.
Okay, so I need to seek legal counsel, because this, I didn't really get a chance to explain or go through any of the items that I.
Because we're not talking about damages today. We're not talking about the damages. You've already indicated that you want to move and you wanted 30 to 60 days. I'm giving you 45 days.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about if and how much you owe after that and whether or not Section 8 agrees with your situation or
Well, this
theory.
doesn't have any, ma'am, if you look at the.
Well, it does,
report-
if Section 8 didn't pay for something and they had a position, then it does reduce the amount
Right.
of whatever the amount owed is.
Now, did you look at the reports I provided?
I
They
can't look at
show-
any reports unless they're legally offered.
Those
I
are
can't-
reports that were mailed to me and him. When you fail an inspection, they list everything.
Then you're gonna have to submit those
I
in
did,
the,
miss.
but no, it's not like this. You have to submit them legally and make a foundation so that they're legally admissible.
I
You
don't
can't just
understand
send
how to
them
do that.
into the file. But what I'm gonna tell you right now is I think you should contact legal aid
Mhm.
and go from there. But I'm gonna sign the judgment writ to issue.
I still have.
Do I need to
questions. don't
prepare that,
understand.
Judge, or did?
You do need to prepare it.
Okay, I'll email it to the court. And then were we gonna set the date for?
They'll send out a notice by Zoom only because initially I want him to have time to get possession of the property and decide what, where you're at and your
That's
request
fine.
for damages. I only want to do it one time.
I'll put that in the order, or the judgment of possession. There's the other line that says.
You can
author-
actually give the judgment for possession on August 1st and then a Zoom hearing on August the 23rd at 10:30 for, just for a preliminary hearing on damages, and then we'll set it from there.
So I just have one more question. All the copies and pictures that I submitted am I gonna get them back? Because I paid $60 to print all
You
of
can
that.
get them, you can get them back.
And then what is the
I'll send the
correct way?
file downstairs with my secretary, and you could go downstairs and you can get those pictures, you can get them all back.
So what is the correct way I have to do to make them admissible for court? Because I thought I just had.
You have to have a
provide,
witness that you can admit them through. If it's a document, you need whoever authored the document to submit it. Or depending if it's, I don't know what the documents are.
I don't
Give
think
me-
Taylor Housing is gonna be able to come here, so can they sign, I'm just trying to.
Then they
make
can
sure.
appear by Zoom.
Okay. And then if they don't do that, you're telling me that the reports that came from the state inspector showing why it failed and why they stopped paying them is not good enough?
If it's from the state inspector on your issue of damages,
Right.
some documents are self-authenticating, meaning that I can accept them if it's a state document. It depends on what it is.
It's from the inspection company each time they came.
Then
to
you can
say-
reach out to him and see if he agrees.
He has the copies. I gave him copies.
And I don't know what the documents all are, counsel. If some of them are state, they're self-authenticating, and I'll admit them.
And it's not
You
for
can
the
set that.
drain. He keeps saying he fixed the drain, it's leaking. Every day that we shower up until the day. it's
I'm
the
actually
plumbing.
gonna go off the record right now, so I'll go off.
Okay, I'm done. Okay.